East Lansing versus Okemos, two communities that are located right near each other, but completely different in what they offer to their residents, such as lifestyle, taxes, downtown feel, home prices, and even the way the neighborhoods are laid out. So stick around until the end because I'm going to give you a winner in each category so that you can make an informed decision on which place might be better for your daily living. So we're gonna get started with this new episode of Lansing, Michigan Life. And if this is your first time or your 50th time to the channel, my name is ‶ I'm a top producing real estate agent in the greater Lansing, Michigan area. And I help people each and every week who are just like you watching this channel, looking to maybe relocate to Lansing, East Lansing, Okemos, Grand Ledge, Holt, any of the greater Lansing metropolitan area. So if you're looking to move here in 9 days, 90 days, or 9 months from now, I would love to be able to talk with you about your real estate goals. We can schedule a Zoom call, you can text me, email me, whatever you would prefer. All my contact information is in the description below, so contact me at any time. I'm never too busy to take your call or email. And if you haven't already, I would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel. That way you can be notified of when new episodes of Lansing, Michigan Life go live. And we have new episodes going live once or twice a week. So if you want to get notifications on that, please subscribe or ring the bell for notifications. Also, if you like the content of this video, I would appreciate a thumbs up, just so that I know that you like this content. I should continue making more content like this. Okay, so when I meet with people who are just like you watching this channel, the top two areas that always come up, to no one's surprise, are East Lansing and Okemos. Now there are plenty of other suburbs that you can check out, and if you haven't scrolled on my YouTube channel homepage, there are over 100 videos that talk about all the different suburbs. There's more to greater Lansing than East Lansing, Okemos, and just Lansing proper. There's a lot more areas to check out. But I don't know if the reason why I hear a lot about it is because of my channel and they've been watching it and they see the pros and cons and that fits them the best. I don't know if it's because of other research that's done, but whatever the case, I have people that are moving to East Lansing, wanting to move to Okemos, some people in ‶ as well, they're wanting to check that out. Those are probably my top three. So I wanted to do a face-off of East Lansing versus Okemos, the top two areas. I've done Lansing versus Ann Arbor, Lansing versus Grand Rapids, Lansing versus Detroit. I think I did Hazlitt versus Okemos, and now I'm doing East Lansing versus Okemos. So number one and number two, I would say in popularity. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go through 9 different categories here of how each of them compare. And then at the end, I'm gonna give category winners, just so that you can kind of see which one comes out on top. And hopefully at the end of this video, you can make a more informed decision of which area you should really try to concentrate on, okay? So the first area, the first category that I wanna look at has to do with the school ratings, okay? And the school districts. So Okemos, if you've been doing your research, Okemos is regularly ranked at least in the top 10 of all of Michigan for school systems. And that's according to niche.com. So if you go on niche.com, they have an A+ rating. And this rating, when you look at the different subgroups, talks about diversity, administration, sports athletics. So it's not just a grade that's just randomly given out, or that it's according to just, oh, this person gave 4 out of 5 stars and this person gave 5 stars, and they take like an average number rating. They really look at a lot of subcategories whenever they make these grades. So Okemos has an A+. East Lansing, also highly rated in Michigan. Theirs is an A. Oh no, they don't have the plus. But when people look at each of the subcategories, Okemos might line up just a little bit higher than what East Lansing would. And again, I encourage you to do your research on niche.com, that's spelled NICHE.com, to be able to look at what people have to say about these school systems. Both of them are great. Both of them are towards the top, even locally in our area, but Okemos does have that plus to the A+. So again, research, investigate, and see what you might find out there. The second section that I want to compare are the taxes. And when I'm talking about taxes, I'm talking about property taxes and city income taxes. So in Okemos, they are primarily located in Meridian Township, sometimes have other taxing authorities, and to know these other taxing authorities, it's important for you to speak with a realtor that knows these taxing authorities, like myself, because we're gonna be able to help you say, hey, this might say Okemos address, but it's really in this school system or in this taxing authority, so it's gonna look a little different, okay? And we are able to help explain that to you. But overall, Okemos for the most part is in Meridian Charter Township. Their property taxes are in the top 2 in all of Greater Lansing. The only one that's higher than Meridian Charter Township is the city of Lansing. The other thing you have to take into account with property taxes is they are usually going to be higher in Okemos because of higher home values, which we're gonna get into later. But the higher home values make your property taxes have a higher average yearly property tax. Just to give you a heads up there, like your property taxes are gonna be higher in Okemos, but it's only because of the home prices being higher. So in regards to East Lansing, their property taxes, as far as millages, it's slightly less than Meridian Charter Township, but the one thing that you have to consider with East Lansing is they have the city income tax. What is the city income tax? Well, if you decide to live in East Lansing city limits, okay? Not just something that says an East Lansing address, but East Lansing city limits, that's your taxing authority, you're going to have to pay a 1% of your income towards the city income tax. If you are moving here, and let's say you live in Okemos, but you work at Michigan State University, then you would have to pay a 0.5% of your income towards the city income tax. So if you work in East Lansing, but you live somewhere else, you're gonna have to pay 0.5%. So when you look at the total amount of taxes you might have to pay, East Lansing might be a little bit higher in that regard. So there wraps up that part of taxes. The third section I wanna concentrate on has to do with the nightlife and downtown. So in Okemos, one of the cons I've talked about with Okemos is that they don't really have a downtown. They've been talking about building a downtown and having an area that's gonna have more boutique shops in it, that might have a little bit more retail, that might have some high rises for rentals. That's been scrapped. It's continuing to be delayed. So I don't know if there is gonna be another announcement coming up here soon, but as of right now, Okemos doesn't really have much of a downtown at all. Now, East Lansing, that definitely has a great downtown. So you just have a walkable downtown, you have restaurants, you have shops. When it comes to nightlife, East Lansing definitely wins because of those restaurants that are in downtown. They can be open pretty late, especially with students being at Michigan State University. In Okemos, the only place that might stay up late would be high caliber karting in Meridian Mall, because that's a little bit more of an adult place where there's go-karting and there's axe throwing and there's a bar there. But other than that, unless you know differently and you live in the area, comment below, let me know something else, but Okemos just does not have much of a nightlife. East Lansing definitely does. So if having a downtown and nightlife is really, really important to you and having something that's walkable as well, East Lansing might be the place for you. Fourth section I want to focus on, home prices, because if you're looking to relocate, home prices are going to be a big deal, right? So in East Lansing, the average home price is around $300,000 to $350,000 throughout the entire city of East Lansing. In Okemos, your average home price is going to be closer to $400,000 to $450,000. So about a $100,000 difference. But you do have more newer subdivisions, larger homes, more luxury homes in Okemos as well. So about a $100,000 difference between East Lansing and Okemos, which goes back to my point of taxes. So when you live in Okemos, your property tax that you have might end up being significantly higher than it would in East Lansing, even though the millages are about the same. So what do I mean by that? If I were to go with a home in Okemos and purchase it at $400,000, according to the law in Michigan, what can happen is when I purchase that home price, then the city can reassess it and take the taxable value up to half the purchase price. So in this case, for a $400,000 home, then your taxable value would be $200,000. The average mills in Meridian Township are about 55 to 57 mills. Then on average, your taxes would be around $11,000 for the year. Now, if I were to do the exact same thing in East Lansing, and let's say I got a $300,000 house there, which honestly, I think that they're starting to inch closer to $325,000 to $350,000, but let me go to $300,000 for East Lansing, okay? $300,000 property, your taxable value would go to $150,000 if that's what you purchased it at. At the current millage that you would be at, that would take you to about $8,000, $8,500, $9,000 for the entire year. So you do save some money on taxes in East Lansing for your property taxes, but again, if you're moving to East Lansing and you have a $200,000 salary that you're moving here on, then $2,000 of that is going straight to the city. So that could cancel out right there. You know what I'm saying? So something for you to consider as you're evaluating the home prices, the taxes, your budget, but I want you to have as much of the facts as you can when you're trying to make this informed decision. Section 5, the commute and location. So if you were to look at a map of the Lansing area, just east of Lansing is East Lansing. And so if you do decide to call East Lansing your home, there are definitely, there's a north part of East Lansing, a south part, just like every city, right? But if you live closer to like where Michigan State University is, you have prime highway access to the major interstate that runs north and south, 127. You have access to the bypass, 496. So for those of you who are working in Michigan State, or in downtown Lansing for the state of Michigan maybe, or you're working for Sparrow Hospital, you would want to take the bypass to be able to get there. You would have a great commute to be able to get there. Not a ton of traffic, and honestly, some people who live in East Lansing, they just might not take the interstate, they might take a major road headed west to go there because it might just be easier to take some of the back roads instead of the highways. Whatever route you would prefer, you could probably get there within 5 to 10 minutes, okay? So for those of you who are working the west side of town and you're like, I don't know if I wanna look at the east side of town because it just seems like it could take a little bit longer than some, don't let that deceive you. I mean, take a look at the highway system, see how close it is to the highway. You could probably get there just as fast as living in an area where you're gonna have to take a bunch of back roads to be able to get there. As far as Okemos goes, Okemos, you do have highway access, but you have highway access to I-96, which is in the southern part of Lansing. But I-96 is very convenient to getting you to Brighton, to Ann Arbor, to Detroit. So if you have a commute that might be a little bit further out, it's great. But Okemos only has access to 96. I mean, you could get to I-69, it's further north, but that's gonna take you another 10 minutes. Living in like East Lansing and being able to have all these interstates at your disposal. So as far as convenience, commute, East Lansing might hold the edge. I'll review that at the end. Section 6 has to do with parks and trails. If you're really into parks and trails and nature, East Lansing, they have obviously Michigan State University campus, they have urban trail systems as well, and they do have some great parks, but it's not as spread out in East Lansing. It definitely feels a little bit more like a city. Okemos has more wooded natural areas. I'm not saying East Lansing doesn't, but Okemos does have more wooded natural areas. They also do have the Harris Nature Center, multiple township parks throughout, and so for parks and trails, there's definitely more woods, more parks in Okemos, so keep that in mind as well. As far as our next section, shopping and amenities, I can definitely tell you this. Okemos, they have Chick-fil-A, they have Meridian Mall, they have Panera Bread, they have some restaurants like Chili's, Olive Garden, so they have some of the national chains. They have the places that you would go to that you could see nationwide. East Lansing, they do have some of the chains in downtown. They have a lot of international cuisine. They're in downtown, more boutique shops, more things that are more local. And so they do have a different feel when it comes to retail, shopping, amenities. However, East Lansing is very close to Frandor Shopping Center, which is just west of East Lansing. You take Grand River Avenue and it takes you to Frandor, which I made a video about, that is the most disliked place in Lansing. I was being a little sarcastic, but it's because of the traffic flow there. It's really confusing there. But they do have a shopping center that has a Barnes & Noble, and it has a World Market, and it has a Kroger grocery shopping, and it's got a Michael's, it's got a Kirkland's. So in East Lansing, you are close to a major shopping center there, and then just north of that is the outdoor shopping center known as Eastwood. So this one is a little tricky, but if you're looking strictly at wanting to have it within your own city, Okemos would definitely have more to offer there. Next section, section 8, has to do with the neighborhood styles. So East Lansing is an older city, has more history to it than Okemos does. Okemos has a lot of Native American history, and I do talk about that in some of my other videos about the Native American history, so it did take some time for Okemos to be able to build more homes and neighborhoods there. So with that being said, East Lansing has homes that were built in the early 1900s, and they have those homes with character. Okemos has some neighborhoods that were built in 1950, 1960, but then they did this huge surge back in the 90s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and even up until now, they just had all of these neighborhoods being built. And so you'll find some, like a lot more newer homes, a lot more luxury homes in Okemos. East Lansing is gonna have some of the older charming characters, some neighborhoods that are newly built, and you're gonna find some of the mid-century modern homes, especially in East Lansing. There's a neighborhood known as White Hills that just has a lot of Swedish architects that made homes in there. homes with character, charm, some contemporary housing. So as far as neighborhoods go, East Lansing might have a little bit more of the charm and character. Okemos has a little bit more of the luxury and the new build. So, but that's where you would have to evaluate which place would be better. The last section, section 9, we're looking at rental versus owner-occupied housing. So this last section, I'm talking about what does the ratio look like for rentals versus owner-occupied housing. So in East Lansing, you're gonna have a higher proportion of rentals due to having Michigan State University. Now, I'm not gonna say that there's just rentals everywhere, like wherever you look, okay? There are definitely neighborhoods in East Lansing where it's forbidden to have rentals. And there's definitely like safe pockets where you're not gonna have any students. They just aren't good for rental homes. The closer you get to the university is where you're going to have more of those rental options. So there is gonna be a higher proportion of rentals in Michigan State. Okemos does have rental housing, but they don't have like some of the high rises that Michigan State has, or some of the apartment complexes that East Lansing would have. So if I were to look purely at owner occupied versus rental, and again, this is factual, I'm not just giving you an opinion, but Okemos definitely has more owner occupied homes than rental homes, okay? So as I promised, here's the part that's gonna help you decide quickly. Right here. I'm gonna give you the category winners for each one. And remember, there's no right or wrong here. It's all about fit. It's all about what fits you and what you're most comfortable with. So the category for walkability and entertainment, I'm gonna give that to East Lansing. For retail convenience, I'm gonna give that award to Okemos. For proximity to MSU and downtown Lansing, that award goes to East Lansing. For ease of travel towards Detroit, I-96, that goes to Okemos. For the more affordable home pricing, the median home price, that goes to East Lansing. For newer subdivisions and larger homes, I would give that to Okemos. For public school ratings, statewide rankings, Okemos typically appears higher, but East Lansing, it's also ranked highly statewide. It depends on what programs you want to have for your kids, because I know that each school offers different types of programs, especially with sports. Like maybe you want your kid to be involved in a really good sport. Do your research, check it out there. For neighborhood variety and architectural charm, that goes to East Lansing. For owner-occupied stability, that's gonna go to Okemos, okay? So those are my category winners there as we're evaluating, comparing the two. But again, it's what fits you. It's what choice is going to be best for myself and for my family. And so when I went through each of these categories, hopefully one of them just made you think like, oh yeah, I really want that. This is something that I really want to be able to have. And if you're still having trouble with that decision and you want to be able to book a call, Zoom call, or you want to email me with any more questions, definitely feel free to reach out to me anytime. Again, all my contact information is in the description below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and give a thumbs up if you like this content. So that is the end of my comparison to East Lansing and Okemos. Again, hopefully you make a more informed decision about where you're looking to move, and maybe you decide to not move to either of these areas. Maybe you're looking to move somewhere else. So again, check out the videos on my channel because you will get lots of facts about some of the other areas. So until next time, everybody, make it a great day and take care.